to another episode of That's Racing, episode 28. Andrew, welcome.
Thank you, mate. It's good to be back.
Welcome.
Yeah.
Hello, peoples.
Sorry we didn't boycott Zayda, guys.
Oh, we'll get to that. But it feels like it's been a long time since you've been here last. So.
I think has been a little while. I've missed a couple just purely due to being overseas and flying around everywhere and just trying to make cool GTR things happen. So I guess there's a lot to catch up on.
I think you're on episode 2.
Yeah.
Was it that far?
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe 3. I got boycotted. You boycotted the wrong Andrew, maybe.
Yeah. Fuck. Yeah, we'll talk about that.
In good
a little later on.
Listen, I don't blame the fans one bit.
A little later on. But the hate is real.
I'm not boycotting you, mate. It's okay. I won't do it.
I'm just...
He didn't even come to your event, you know that?
Yeah, I know.
I was at a wedding.
Yeah.
It's true.
I heard all about it. I watched that bit of the
I bought a
podcast.
ticket.
I
You wouldn't
turned off
believe
that
it.
moment.
I bought a ticket.
Really?
You wouldn't read about it.
It's still pretty nice of him to do that, right?
It is very nice.
He's a liar.
You wouldn't read about it.
He's a fucking liar.
You wouldn't read about it, mate. But anyway, more over to you. Tell us about these interesting things or the wonderful things you've been doing in the GTR scene.
Well, you guys obviously talked about Sydney last time, and I was pretty happy that you guys enjoyed it, right? Like it
was a good event.
I was stoked. It was probably the most stressful GTR festival I've done. GTR Festival, well, Romanos is learning about being an event promoter and how stressful it can be. So GTR Festival was a passion project. It was a side project. It was I just woke up one day and said I want to do a GTR Festival. And when you're running it as a passion project, you've got your mates helping you, family helping you, etc. And it's not really kind of run as its own business. But as it kind of grew, it actually grew faster than I anticipated over the time. COVID obviously put a dent in that growth, but it went from 150 cars and 900 people to in the first one to 12,000 people over 2 days. If you do the mathematics of 2-day passes is 2 set classes, 2 people. That's how you do the maths with events over 2 days. And then 500, 600, 700 cars or whatever it was. Like it was full. So it's kind of grown into actually this needs to be run as a business, right? So this year was the first year where I really sort of wrote out an operations manual. There was multiple schedules for all the team. Like it was the most planned out GTR festival I'd ever done. And then when that weather hit, you got a lot rolling on it, right? Like there's hundreds of thousands of dollars on the line here. And when you've got international guests, racers, you've got people that have bought tickets from multiple countries. And I'm talking 20 plus countries were at the event. You can't just go, oh yeah, we'll just postpone it, like whatever. The track doesn't always have an available date. Did that clash with other things we're doing? So you've got to make that decision. So the weekend before I made the call that looking at the weather, it was still pretty grim, but it did say that if there was any rain on Saturday and Sunday, it was minimal, so we could probably get away with it. But that little rain symbol, I want to find the guy that works for Apple that does that rain symbol, because sometimes that rain symbol, it can be because there's 1 millimetre forecast at 5 a.m. And it's sunny the rest of the day and they put a fucking rain symbol. Sorry, it just really pisses me off. I want to find that guy and bash the crap out of him, right? Because that can cost you so much money when people just look, see a rain symbol and go, I'm not going. So I had to make the call, are we going ahead? And I kind of made a public announcement that said, we have 3 days to make it happen. Let's just make it happen. And made the call to go ahead. Then on Tuesday, you saw the forecast was sunny Saturday, partly overcast Sunday, but terrible Friday. So I had to make that call straight away to go, let's just switch to Saturday, Sunday now, rather than the day before, so people have time to plan for it. So where it got stressful was not so much that stress of the weather anymore. Now it was the stress of having to rewrite every single schedule, rebook flights, hotels, cars, announcements to everybody. And the admin of that was almost like I had to plan the whole event again, but in 3 days. Yeah. So the stress of that was just wild. Like it was, and Zayda, I wouldn't wish it on anyone.
Zayda can't even appreciate that and can't come to it.
He's boycotting now, it's all right. So
it was a good call. I'll give you that, because there was a point in time there that I was looking around going, yeah, man, this doesn't look positive.
It was the only 2 days of the whole week.
It rained Monday.
It rained Monday.
I feel like the rain in the lead up to it would have helped in that a lot of people wanted to get out.
I think that did for probably people in Sydney, but what we did find is a lot of people in regional New South Wales were actually affected by floods. So we did give refunds to people who, like a partial refund to people that said, look, I can make Saturday because obviously it hasn't changed, but I can't make Sunday due to commitments with getting home and things like that. We also opened up for VIPs on Friday to come in, just because a whole bunch of people that bought VIP tickets were from Fiji, America, the UK, etc. It's like now they've got nothing to do. But it didn't actually stop raining on Friday till like 3:30 p.m. So you can imagine setup got way more stressful as well. So, and to be honest with you, like it's one of those things where I look at it and go, I'm still incredibly happy with what we did and what we pulled off, considering the circumstances behind the scenes. But at the same time, I still sit there going, imagine what it would have been like if it went the way we thought. Like roll racing Friday night would have been double the size, triple the size. Because Sundays don't work.
I would have been there. Seriously.
Right? Sundays rarely work.
Planned it out to be there.
Guess what? Tomorrow it's on.
Yeah.
You wouldn't believe it, man.
What was the official
My
numbers?
wife's going out with her friends.
Issued
Gotta
tickets,
babysit.
12,000 over 2 days. No. So, yeah.
12,000 over 2 days.
Yeah, if you go off issued tickets, I've probably got to go through it with a fine-tooth comb and work out what got scanned and what didn't. So it might be a little bit under, like 11 and a half over.
And that's probably the people that paid. A lot of people probably didn't pay and got in.
Yeah, probably. Or your mates.
What about the people that paid and didn't turn up? Are they counted as...
At the moment, in that number of 12,000 they are.
So
that's
I
why
made
said
up that 12,000.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. So I've got to go through and just finalise a couple of things. And
What is the biggest amount of numbers that you've had come through the
that's
gates?
pretty much the same as last year.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah. This year I was aiming for we were hoping together like 20,000 total is what our goal was for this year. And I think we would have got it if that rain hadn't been forecast, because I think a lot of people had in their head of this event's not happening.
Yeah.
It
put a damper in it for sure.
Yeah, it did.
But
So what's the deal now? Like you've conquered the GDR scene here. You're doing successful events here in Australia. I know last year you went overseas and did one there.
Yeah.
Are you planning on doing that again?
Yep, US is blocked in for 5 years already. And
Really?
as far as I'm concerned, the US is a permanent event until it's not. There is no, are we doing it? It is locked in for November every year, same weekend. So 14th to the 16th. New Zealand, I partnered with Azar. So New Zealand actually already existed. It started in 2018 after ST High-Tech sponsored the first Australian one in 16. They wanted to do a New Zealand one, and they asked me to do it. And this story has actually never come out. They asked me to do it, and back then I just went, I just don't really have the capacity to sort of go to New Zealand and do a GTR festival back in 18. I didn't. And I said if I did do one, I'd probably call Azar, who runs every good event over there. He runs Chrome and all the Rotary events, does Mad Mike's Summer Bash. And then I said, just get Azar to do it and see if I can be involved. And then Azar did start GTR Festival with them. And I went to a couple of them, and then this year we just kind of were discussing further involvement. And the reason for that was he runs an event every month, right? So it's hard to make one stand out. So his attitude was if he brings me in, makes that event part of our greater GTR Festival sort of brand, it could help grow the event there. And someone else helping make it bigger, bring cars, bring guests, etc. So I saw him at Summer Nats this year and just said to him, forget discussions. How about we just go halves in the event? And he went, yeah, done. So... yeah, so he ran all the logistics and everything, and his team ran the track and all that sort of stuff, which was great because I just flew in, bought guests, had a good time, made sure everyone else did, and then got to pack up and
How
leave.
was the turnout in New Zealand?
Well, exactly the same thing as here. Rained all week, forecast to rain, and beautiful weather on Saturday. So that same as our event, it was like expected to flop because of the forecast, but then came good, and we still had slightly more than last year. So... and a better event, and everyone was very happy.
The Kiwis are dark horses when it comes to the GDRs, man.
But you know what? The
they're-
Kiwis have a lot of Jap imports.
Yeah,
Yeah, they
a
hate
lot.
like you don't see it much. They're not really,
No.
about social media as much as
Yeah.
everyone else is. But man, they got some. Like I was watching some of the cars and like what they're about. They're into it.
Well, they used to have the record
Yeah.
for a while. Reece McGregor, then Robbie
For a
Ward
while.
had the GDR outright record before we got it back.
Big RB guys, big
Yeah.
What do you
and
mean,
big
GTR
rotor
record?
guys.
What were they
Yeah.
running?
They had
Yeah,
the
big
outright
rotor
GDR
guys,
record.
Yeah, even the 2Js
What
actually.
record?
Yeah,
What was
and
it?
Commodore. If you really think about it, they're big. They're big Commodore guys as well. over there.
VLs.
Yeah.
I love VLs.
All the VLs. maybe.
Well, they didn't have any car manufacturing there, so imports were much easier. So they
I
got
know.
flooded with imports.
I know over there it's called the VL Royale, I think. They don't have a Calais. I think the
Aren't you
Calais was called a
fucking
Royale.
kidding me?
Yes, how I know.
So you should know.
A Royale with cheese.
A Royale.
Go the Kiwis.
There's a skit there somewhere. I can feel it. But the vibe there was great, though.
So was there drag racing there as well? And
Yeah, there
everything
was,
else?
but they do that on that event's more like power cruise session, time attack session, roll racing, drag racing, drifting on a circuit, not the drag strip. So they're off street racing, drag racing,
There's no
and
prep
roll
kind of
racing is like a no prep, and it's only like not even an eighth mile. And I've watched 8-second cars basically go off the end into the dirt because they can't stop. So
So it's like a Kuda style.
but imagine half the length and a sand trap at the end.
Wow.
Yeah, it's wild. And there is now talks because obviously New Zealand's starting to build Sydney-style GTRs. And they admit it. They actually admit they watch what we're doing. And you look at their engine bays, and instead of there being maybe 1,000 horsepower GTR at GTR Festival New Zealand, this year there was like 15, 20 of them. There's a lot more. Yeah, JT Performance, High Power Performance are leading that charge, JD Fab. So there's a bunch of them.
That's pretty cool.
They brought 40 PSI over.
Yeah, that's right.
To race over here, which is actually pretty cool to see.
Yeah, James is a mad dog. He's like...
Yeah.
He's
I
like
can't believe the
considered top dog there.
fascination in RBs, man. I really can't.
Just because you don't get it doesn't mean it's not true, though. Like
No, no doubt.
What's your opinion on why there is such a cult around the whole Skyline GTR thing?
Did we just get
Where did
one?
it come from, and why do you think we still have such a large culture?
I
today?
think there's a few things to it, right? There's not one thing I think that made it like that's the reason. There's multiple reasons. You had the Group A days, then you had the Japanese. Basically, in Japan in the late 90s, in drag racing, GTRs were it, right? Like if you watched Option and Best Motoring and all the videos from Japan, it was just GTRs just kicking ass, non-stop, every big car.
They got kicked out of Bathurst, didn't they, as well?
Technically weren't kicked out, right? Technically Group A was abolished. So people love saying GTR got banned from Group A. It actually didn't. The Group A just stopped because that whole category of racing was getting too out of control and it stopped. Did the GTR contribute to Group A racing no longer being the right formula, potentially? But you've got to remember, some countries didn't have the GTR in Group A. So Group A got abolished globally. Japan just held on to it for one more year before they switched to their own JGTC in 94. So Group A was going anyway. So it wasn't that GTR got banned and then they kept racing Group A. Group A stopped. So it's a nice little rumour, though. Everyone loves
Well, that's the story that I know.
Yeah,
we
I
can go with
actually-
it.
They
Like,
used to flog the V8s, and that's why they
I
banned
thought
it.
that was it. I thought
No,
they
they
actually
weren't banned.
kicked him out of Bathurst.
no, it's not what happened. So, but we can go
aren't
with
even
that story.
born.
It sounds good.
Yeah, well, yeah.
It sounds good.
You weren't even in the country.
Yeah. But I think, so that started it. Then the drag racing scene and the whole Japanese car scene kind of, remember the JDM scene in the early 2000s kind of hit, got big, and GTR led that charge. Then obviously Fast and Furious came out. Too Fast, Too Furious had a GTR at the start. Paul Walker loved GTRs. So it just kept perpetuating it. And I think the GTR's reputation of being, the king, it kind of never really got let down either. I remember when I fell in love with GTRs in 99, that every time I saw one turn up to the street runs or turn up somewhere, it delivered. And I'm like, it wasn't a false cult following, if that makes sense. Then the GTR scene kind of was a little bit dead late 2000s in Australia, and then I started Cootamundra. And kind of, no offence, but I made a lot of people in Western Sydney sell their VLs and RX3s and buy GTRs because the magazines died. So there was no more auto salon, and now you have to race your car to get any notoriety or any fame and any media coverage. So I kind of may have helped boost that along by making people go, well, if you want to get featured.
Well, for me, I remember the scene taking off when Anthony
Street King.
put an ad in, for Muhammad Khan's car, the black one, took it.
Yeah.
Like, I remember there was a post on Facebook looking for an R32 or looking for something.
Yeah, and that's all around when Cootamundra was cranking up.
And that's the start of it for me, like when it really, and then from there, it just evolved, and then Street King come
Street
about.
King got built is when every shop said, we want to compete with that car.
And what's the
That was
first thing I
key.
did? I went down and featured the car and made sure it went to Cootamundra GTR Festival and perpetuated that rivalry. And then
That's what
I don't know if you
King,
remember. I
right?
don't know if you remember this, but at one of your events, I came in the RX3 as an imposter.
Yeah, I remember.
And I won it.
Yep. Yeah, I remember.
I got an Xbox from you and a Forza.
I
won it. And
the
Street King was
the
there.
Forza event. That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah, I forgot all about that. I built a GTR.
I think you gave me
with Street
$500
Effects.
the Xbox and the game Forza.
Yeah, it was an event random.
And you still don't support his events
And
now.
I won it. Well, you can't support it any more than going, can you?
Yeah, but now.
I don't have an RX3 to go race as an imposter.
But I think that then the Jun versus King rivalry. Just,
That was
Man, I know people that in the drag racing scene that'll say that's probably the biggest rivalry in Australian drag racing in a long time, and they actually rarely ever raced each other. Like it was weird. Like it almost started this whole world of
more
like
about time
chasing
battle,
numbers.
like
Yeah,
chasing
time
a
battle,
number.
right? So because GTRs, let's face it, like they don't bump in and do heads up very well, and most of them. And that's why
That's why
GTR
they're better
festivals like
suited
that.
for roll racing.
Yeah,
Like,
they are. They are better suited. I miss the old school Japanese style heads up racing though. I really do.
So do I.
That's why I loved this versus that with Hoonigan when we did that.
That's
I was
cool.
racing Johnny Habib. And,
That was actually really
That
cool.
was mad. So I think that cult has just perpetuated, and then obviously Paul Walker kept it going. Then American YouTubers got into it. So there's just all these elements that have just kept supporting
why
it.
can't they bump in? Like, is there a reason why, or can they? Or
I don't think anymore that they can't. I think it's now more that they don't. It used to be that they couldn't get them on boost fast enough to kind of bump in and drag race. And then I think this whole GTR world did turn into this, like, it's all about what number you run because you're building a street car. So I made the rules at CUDA and then GTR Festival. You had to have full interior, full exhaust,
Fuck, there was
full
arguments
panels.
about those rules everywhere.
Right. I did all that. And have you noticed that, Jun 2 still has an interior in it? Right. Why? Like, it's a low 6 second.
Yeah.
But we built these rules so that people were building cars that still looked like GTRs.
Yeah.
They weren't building drag cars, right?
Yeah.
Let's face it.
so they're
probably
technically
drag cars
GDRs,
underneath.
not like what they're doing in the States.
Yeah.
now.
It's
Oh,
right.
that's
It's
a
whole nother-
GDR.
claiming.
too.
It's a whole nother topic, that one. So.
That's a GDR is a GDR, period.
Can
I
you
don't
boycott him if he
It's-
keeps
it's-
talking like this?
It's
He's been boycotted many times.
Yes.
Have you checked the comments? It's all you, mate.
It's highly offensive.
yeah.
A GDR is a GDR, and bring what you got. Isn't that the same?
What's your definition of a GDR?
If it started life as a GDR, it's a fucking
No.
GDR.
So if I just get the roof and the firewall and get rid of everything else, is it still a GDR?
Yes.
No, it's not. Sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Well, everyone's
What's your
entitled to their
definition?
opinion, right?
It's got to be all drive.
Yep.
I
Agreed.
think it still has to run the original chassis rails. They're probably the two biggest things for me. And obviously, it's got to look like a GDR. It can't be.
I agree. Like,
I
I think
wrote
it's got to
rules
have
for
the
this, so-
fundamentals of it.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
I think the four drive is one of the biggest things about it. I don't not really
Yep.
fussed about the chassis rails and all that because once you get to a certain,
Level. I get-
level, you're not going to.
You're restricted, I guess.
Yeah.
Look, it's a tough one, right? I think the rules that I wrote for Cootamundra and GTR Festival were great at fostering, I guess, the development of GTRs. And the thing I enjoyed about that the most was when Matuk was developing King with Nader and Rob and Croydon were developing Jun 2, they kept an interior, they kept the body shape. And then as we evolved those rules a little bit, they still looked like GTRs. And what was happening is the development of those cars did actually filter down into street cars. So now you've got 2,000 horsepower
Roll
street
racing
cars,
cars.
right? Like
100%.
we could never have done that if we didn't push the envelope with those initial cars that paved the way that stayed true to being a GTR. So my rules have always been written a certain way. Now, there is no governing body in the entire world that says, that record is valid because of X, Y, Z.
Do you ever think of creating one or no?
A worldwide GTR organisation.
Yes.
Well, hopefully GTR Festival's big enough soon that it kind of just becomes that anyway, right?
Yeah, good luck getting everyone to sign up to that.
Yeah, so good luck. But imagine the
Ashraf
punch-ons.
can be the auditor.
Oh, good luck. Good luck. Can you imagine him trying to write rules? He'd just write them to suit him, right? It wouldn't matter. But
So
I'm
is
not
there a
biased.
part of you that misses the Cootamundra event and what
Yeah.
you created there?
of course it does, yeah.
You know, I've never been.
I've driven your car there.
Yeah, I've
You're
never-
just saying I don't support my mates.
I've never been either.
No, but because I've
Did you just put
Yeah.
it on the
Yeah, I've never
record
been.
that
Who's
you've
the
never
best?
been?
No, but
His cars have been though, and I've driven them while
and,
he's not
and
there.
he's broken them. He's rang me.
I hit a bird.
He goes, I hit a bird.
I hit a bird. I didn't
cage."
break it. A bird broke it. I hit a bird at 300 k's an hour in his Lambo.
Look, I've never been because I can't drive in a car for more than there's an hour. That's 4 hour drive.
Why didn't you get a plane there? You could have got a private plane from Bankstown.
It's true.
Yeah, no,
I think
I'd stay home.
I think Kuda getting out of the picture this year.
Yeah.
You guys did a pretty good job. You and Romanos in transitioning
Yeah.
COTS into GTR Festival.
Yeah.
And that was a bit was sort of like how's that going to work out?
Yeah.
GTR Festival usually has its own thing, but I think it worked out really well.
Worked out
and
sick.
it added that extra layer of
Yeah.
sort of things that people could do. And now what you're talking about, people being able to come with their 1,000, 2,000, 1,500 horsepower, GDRs and race and be competitive in that event.
Yeah, that's right.
They were going to rock up and be like, well, we can't race all these big horsepower cars that
Yeah.
are running 7-6 seconds and stuff like that. We're not going to do that. But adding that layer to it, I think has really made that extra bit better with the GTR Festival. You didn't have that in New Zealand. Is that something that you guys are looking to do? Would you take COTS to New Zealand?
I don't know what the rules are like there. Like, you'll probably be able to answer this. Are they? What are the rules like doing roll racing over there?
Well, at the moment, because it's not a thing, Azar runs roll racing at a few of his events and has his own roll racing series.
Yep.
But I don't it's like anything, right? If you leave rules unchecked, things can go out of control. But it hasn't reached that point over there yet where it's so out of control that they need like rules to sort of keep on top of it.
Yeah.
And because it's run on a no prep track, there's only so fast you're ever going to go.
Yeah.
How long is their distance there? Is it like us or shorter?
There's a couple of events where he does it on the main national track front straight where it can be like, 1,000 feet. But the ones at GTR Festival is like, it's not even an eighth mile. It's pretty short.
What's the point of that? Like 2 gears?
Is it popular, the roll racing?
Yeah, very
It is?
popular.
I see a bit of it online, and
Yeah.
it looks pretty cool. Well, it seems like it's got a bit of
You
traction.
should take IHM then, go right?
What did you
love
think
to.
about COTS joining GTR Festival, and how did you find it? Obviously, it's still early days for COTS from what we've seen, but from what we've seen, it's obviously doing great. But what was your take?
Look, Andrew's always had the idea of running roll racing at GTR Festival. I just think we helped, with the insurance that we have and all that. It just helps the cars that want to race and, make it possible, running these cars. Otherwise, without the insurance we have in place, it's hard to do.
Yeah.
It's almost nearly impossible.
Yeah, it was. If I had run it under IHRA, I would have had half the cars not even be able to race or go at all. But that wasn't the only reason. Like as an event promoter, I've always been big on making sure everyone does well, right? I'm always happy to work with people. It's not sort of like I'm not closed off going, I want it all. When you can bring someone else in who, if they run roll racing and you want roll racing at your event, why wouldn't you get them to run it? I let Australian Drift Club run our drifting. I just go, there you go, it's yours. Yeah. You make your money out of it. You do what you want. I have literally nothing to do with it. And some people would say, but you got to take a cut. I go, yeah, but just let them go do that. And then they're making their money from the rides. But, it's a passion, they're getting entertainment for the crowd, etc. And same with working with the guys from COTS. It's like, now it can be part of their series. It can be like a set of rules that already exist. They run roll racing, so why wouldn't I get them to run it? To me, it makes a lot of sense.
Like we had an event that was pretty close to GTR Festival, but it just made sense to team up and
I agree,
and tackle it all in one.
Why
and
fight each other,
that's
right?
really open-minded
100%.
by you, because, like you said, a lot of people would have been like, "No,
Without-
man,
without
do
the
your own
guys
thing. I'm not letting you step in and
Put
do
your guard up and
So to do that, it's
good.
just bettering the scene.
Well,
It's
they got
pretty
given
good.
a date the weekend after the dragway, even though we've spoken about this. I was supposed to have an agreement with the dragway that no event could be the weekend before, weekend after. That maybe not got communicated. They got given that date. Wasn't intentional. There was no malice.
Yep.
We spoke and said it will affect both events. The end. We're not stupid. We know that.
100%.
So let's team up. Now, does it mean that it wasn't even about money either? And I also felt like this is a chance. It's their second event. And I honestly, genuinely believe if it was on Friday night the way it was meant to be, it would have been a 10,000 strong event. It would have been massive, right?
We're off at 10 on Friday night.
Yeah.
And could they have done that on their own? I don't see why not either, but why not make sure it's big? Why not make sure there's a traders alley that's full? Why not make sure that there's, it's
Just
going to be a
a
big
pumping
audience,
vibe,
right? Like just get it pumping, make it
And
big.
it's good that doing it, you can have the Lambos, you can have the cars that aren't tech to race, because under you, if you did it, that wasn't going to happen.
That's right.
Yeah, the rules that you've applied to this are mad.
And I'm happy to do it
just makes
every year.
sense. Yeah, 100%. It's
Why not see it as a headline COTS for each year? Why not go, okay, cool, this is how many COTS rounds we have. Why there should be 1 or 2 per year that have something unique about them that are headlines.
Well, I'm happy to bring grand final there or something.
I'm happy to bring cars from America and have them in COTS as well and stuff like that next year. So because that's what we're in talks for next year. Is
That'd
to
be
bring
cool.
So
cars to the US.
talking about next year, we were talking before this about some exciting things that you're going to announce. Can you tell us a bit about that? What's the plan for next year?
Yeah, there's a lot going on. Yeah, we're bouncing around here.
He's
There's so
going to
much to
Dubai.
talk about.
He's going to Dubai.
Come to Dubai, Habibi. Obviously New Zealand, America, that's 3. The conversation about other countries started straight away. I can say this, I haven't made a public announcement anywhere yet, kind of like hinted here and there, but GTR Festival UK.
Oh.
So one for all of Europe next year, August 15th, 16th, August at Santapod.
Awesome.
So I'm going to Goodwood next month to network, start promoting, start getting that going. So UK is locked in. Official announcement will be soon. There's just a couple of little things I want to work out while I'm over there, and then we'll make the official announcement. Obviously US again, and Japan and UAE are both on the radar at the moment. So I've had a meeting with Yas Marina, and got a couple of people, Abdullah from B7 Vlogs, and spoken to all the big shops in Dubai, obviously Motorsports Mechanicals over there, spoken to F Sport, spoken to Alpha Logic, Sub-Zero, all those guys. Everyone that I've spoken to is keen for one. Yas Marina has agreed in principle that we can have an event there. So it's not an if, it's more of a when. Japan is in discussions. Obviously, Hiroshi Tamura has become a very close friend of mine. We talk a lot, and he's helping us make that happen. There's a couple of ideas got thrown around in Japan, but originally I was thinking, like, how do we get one at Fuji Speedway? But they're so conservative with noise and marks there, it's almost impossible. And then I found out it's $10,000 an hour for the main circuit, plus hiring the pits.
Wow.
So it's like, that's why there's not a lot of those sort of events at Fuji. It's like, it would cost like $500,000 to do Fuji properly on my own. And I'm just like, fuck no.
What a gamble that would be.
I reckon, you know what, that'd be sick. Mac, you should sponsor him.
So now we're actually looking at a dragway that I can't
more like Nissan.
Yeah. Nissan are trying to lay off staff at the moment, so they haven't got any money. So Tamura and Sakamoto and I are in discussions about a very famous drag strip that still exists in Japan and having it there. And rather than try and go for like a big 10,000 strong event, why can't it just be, 100 cars racing, 500 cars on display, and then 2,000 spectators in a smaller, more intimate setting, but in a very traditional Japanese racetrack? And I've already mentioned this to a couple of GTR owners here, and the amount of people that have said, I would just do anything to take my car there and race on a Japanese drag strip that I used to watch when I was a teenager is like a huge deal. So expect like a whole boat full of GTRs to go over there.
Japan is
you can't drive. You can't drive. Have you seen yourself jump me?
Japan.
Get ready for tomorrow.
So I'm going over there in October.
I'm gonna jump you again.
Watch.
I'll know more in October.
You watch him.
So.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, I'll be over in October and check it all out and go from there. So, so next year is 4 events guaranteed.
Yep.
UAE, the idea I have for that is Yas Marina is the final of F1. Why can't it be a GTR World Championship? So, do we, hold off, go big, do the first one huge in February 27? It'll be February. February 27, and make it the GTR World Championship, where the winning car from Australia, New Zealand, UK, Japan, the winner of each
goes over there.
All roads lead to Yas Marina, right?
That'd be cool.
That'll be hectic.
That's one idea I've got going through my head. So
make sure you win.
Yeah, but at least we went
so
from 2 to 3.
Would you cover the costs of those cars going?
Yep. Yeah, that would be that's how we'd make that work. That would be like,
is that GTR only or Skyline period?
It's a GTR World Championship. What part of GTR did you not get in the word GTR World Championship?
So the R35 can't compete?
Well, it's not Max can't, no. But,
well, it's a GTR.
He knows what he's trying to stir that argument again. His argument's never going to end, right? Is Max GTR, Kimbo, a GTR?
No.
GTR.
Just yes or no?
Yes.
No?
Yes.
No?
No.
No.
There you go, it's a no.
Doesn't mean you're right.
Boycott.
GTR.
I will say this though, Mac's an awesome dude. The Shop Houston, they're all awesome guys. They support the event. I support them. It's a great car, and they built that to go heads up racing. That's why they built it initially.
It's crazy, man. Even real drive, full drive, whatever it's doing, it's epic.
It's an awesome car.
Yeah. What a fucking GTR.
Yeah, like it's...
Is it an R35?
It started life as a 35.
It fucking looks like a 35, identical.
Yeah, it started life as a 35. They used to race the shit out of it. And like, the guy's a weapon of a racer, right? It got developed into like a 6-second all-wheel drive GTR as per normal. And then I think what they kind of did it when they did it, from what I understand, is they kind of went, it's very hard to bump in and go heads-up racing in a 35 due to that gearbox and the delay from launching, etc. So they said, let's go turbo 400. And they had all-wheel drive turbo 400 to begin with, but then they ended up just back halfing it. So it's like, it's a 4-link in the back with a turbo 400 and, can put a bigger tyre on it. And it's essentially, a drag car. But they did that so they could go heads-up racing and do that very well. But does that mean it's no longer a GTR? Well, they're saying it is, but there's no governing body, right? Based on our rules at GTR Festival, it's not. And I think most of this table agrees it's not. But it doesn't mean it's not an awesome car.
And he knows.
Doesn't mean it's not a big achievement. George Dodworth. So George Dodworth's car.
He's got a screw blower hanging out the bonnet.
Oh, that's a different one. That's a different.
Is that George
again.
or no?
No, that's someone else. That's what's the name? That
that's
guy.
still a GTR too.
Yeah. Oh, it's that John guy. So, but George's car has the unibody intact from strut tower to strut tower. He could turn that car back into a factory road car. There's no metal cut out from strut tower
Ashraf,
to
is
strut
that a
tower.
GTR as well?
So was Zayda's RX3 a RX3? Was it a drag car? It had no floor, it had no back end, it had no firewall.
Well, you couldn't.
But it was still an RX3.
But could you claim world's quickest RX3?
It had a rotor in it.
Doesn't matter.
It didn't have a blown V8.
All right. What about the VR one? It's still got a GTR engine.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
No, but it's a different argument.
No.
Yes.
No.
What makes a GTR a GTR?
The four-wheel drive component of the GTR is essential to it being a GTR.
That's all it is, right?
Correct.
To me, that's
But
what makes it
Because
a
if it
GTR.
wasn't, then Asaf's car would be the world's quickest GTR because.
But no, his car started off as a GTST. It is a GTST. Hence
but
why it's a
who cares?
GTST.
But it's still an RB, turbo 400, IRS,
It's
rear-wheel
not turbo
drive. So
400.
every other tick would be the same except all-wheel
But
drive.
it's not a GTR.
That's right.
He bought a GTST. This guy bought a GTR and it's still a GTR.
Well, this guy bought a GTR and converted it into a GTST. That's what he's done.
You're
So it's still a GTR.
No, he's not.
It's
It's a GTST.
now.
This argument will never end. Let the comments go. That's what I reckon.
Check his VIN number.
Fair call.
Probably still got one.
Yeah, what's his VIN number? Check it.
So if it has a VIN number, it's that car.
If it has a VIN number of a GTR, it's a
But
GTR.
what if you cut the VIN number out? Like, I mean, that would never happen.
That would
right?
never, no, not at all.
And I
No.
put it in his RX3, then it's a GTR.
That wasn't
the
even
VIN
an
number started life
That
as a
wasn't
GTR.
an RX3. If you're talking about all these cut up
Can I do
Anyway.
that? Can I just cut out the VIN number? So let's go back, right? That argument's gonna go all night. So.
Correct.
But you want to come to Japan? That's what I heard earlier.
100%.
I want to go to the US.
You want to go this year or not?
Yeah, I want to go this year.
Oh well, let's organise it Monday.
Yes, sounds good.
All right, done.
Are
That'd
you
be
going to
cool.
race there?
Yeah,
Are you
I'll
going to
cross
bring
there.
you going to bring your pro mod to USA or not?
It'll be good if you're
no, I
number
don't
one
think
before
so.
you go.
It's a tough call between you got to do World Cup then that back to back.
Yeah, look, I don't even know what's happening there.
Yeah,
so.
true. You'll sell a lot of merch. You'll be a superstar. you better have a lot of merch ready if you go to the US, bro. They love that stuff.
Do they?
You'll be a
He's
superstar.
not
there.
allowed to
The
go
merch.
until he's number one.
You will sell so much merch and be a total superstar if you go to the US. It'd
I'm
be
number
ridiculous.
one. I
Would
want
they
the
ask for
RH9
signatures
class,
in that?
manual.
Would they ask for signatures?
Yeah, man. The Americans love the GTRs. over here.
Ashraf would be the king. Sit there with
Yeah,
the
there was
mug.
controversial comments made on that Straight Alpha podcast about you being the
Did you like that one?
raw racing king.
How did you name yourself that?
RB.
Oh, and even
RB.
worse, how did you name yourself that?
Who's? What do you mean? How many wins have you? How many wins have I had?
I don't know.
More
7?
than you.
Who's had more, you or RH7?
I think I have one more.
Nah. I'll tell you, this has to be call Anthony.
I'm
right
not too
now.
sure. You know what? It's either we're
Ev,
tight
get
or I've
Anthony
got one
here
more.
now.
But the argument with that is I beat him in the only race we had. It's true.
That doesn't mean you
True
become
story.
the RB king of raw racing.
Okay, which car is then?
Oh, that's what I'm saying. I don't know. I'm sure. I know that
HM.
these guys are both very close. In
Tony's
that.
purple Lambo's king.
Okay, you say you're very close, right? And
Precision.
then we race. We've had
Precision
one race.
number one.
Number
I
one.
won.
One or two?
Precision
One.
one. Uno.
Didn't
Uno.
Anthony
That
beat you?
It's not an RB.
Precision Uno.
Anthony beat you
No, no,
once.
Anthony beat him, but not in RH7.
Yeah.
He beat him in RR King, and he beat him when he was driving It's Over.
Yes.
Not in his own
Correct.
car.
Yeah, but yeah,
That's when he was hitting the steering wheel. Do you remember that video?
as a total, 100%. Yes.
Oh, I'm happy for him to claim it. I'm good with it.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And good
Not
precision
just off
claiming.
the wins, off the fact that in terms
I
of
thought,
like,
I thought it
reputation.
said roll racing.
Reputation-wise, yes.
I thought it was a roll
100%. It's still.
racing
Do you know how many times we
great
get
effort,
asked,
yeah.
is RHM coming to USA? Is RHM coming to USA? So, it has to go. It's
Called,
it's
see,
got to go.
the power
one
of social media. It's amazing.
And that's why you got to be controversial sometimes,
Why don't you
right?
ask the people in the
100%.
USA?
Because it
to
creates
buy it? It's got it
engagement.
for
Oh,
sale.
man.
They already know
Controversy
that
sells.
Yeah.
And that's for sale. His
Controversy
car.
Is that why you have him here to start controversy?
Him. He doesn't even know what the word means.
You can't spell that word.
It's the same place as North, bro.
How did you find that?
The podcast?
Yeah.
Tukes is awesome. He's a legend. Street Alpha.
Who's Tukes?
Street
Street
Alpha
Alpha?
podcast.
Who's
Yeah.
that?
He's a legend.
Yeah.
Have I seen him before?
Yeah, he was at GTR Festival.
He was at the culture thing.
1,000%. You've seen some of his videos
Oh,
online.
the dark guy.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
a guy that interviewed Luis about my car, yeah?
Yes.
Yes. There
Yes.
you go.
Yeah, good
But-
dude.
Yeah, he
Really
was
good
cool.
dude.
That was a cool
Yeah,
podcast.
I met him in the
talked
US a few times.
I'll talk some shit, eh?
Good.
Yeah, well, that him and Herman.
Him and Herman made fucking things go
yeah,
crazy overseas.
They were talking about the two JRB
Herman would
thing.
never start shit. That's ridiculous.
No, he didn't intentionally start anything. It was just Herman being fired up about the RBs, but he
was
he
just
slipped a
stating-
comment and
he was
said
stating
that
facts.
yeah, that the fastest import in the world used nitrous and
Oh,
it
that wasn't
didn't.
that one.
And yeah,
He
the
was-
2J world overseas
Yeah,
got a
I
bit
don't know, bro.
up in arms about
Alright.
it. So guys, just
I
to
don't blame
clarify, I did not make that statement. And,
Sounds good.
I had nothing to do
I
with
don't
it.
blame him. Like, how can you come out and just say that the RB is better than the 2J when clearly it isn't?
Okay, so
Why?
how do you gauge what makes the engine better or not?
Well, for me,
Is it just outright world record in a pro mod? Is that the only way to do it?
You know what it is? It's how many fucking top 10 pro mods in the 6 cylinders are actually 2Js compared to an RB.
yes.
Yeah, but that's because there's a lot more.
Yeah, because it's a fucking better platform.
Yeah, but that's not a fair comparison.
It is.
Yes, it is.
It's not.
If an RB was better, it'd be first.
No,
No. Do you know what? They don't have the exposure that we do to RBs.
Exactly.
Their exposure is the 2J platform.
That's
Correct.
right.
Hence why they're number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And
I've
we're
been
number
around.
15.
I've been
Yeah.
around enough platforms, and I feel that the 2J is a more stable platform.
Yeah, well, we're going to change that soon, mate.
Okay, do you see?
Until then, it's all talk.
Tukes did a
Not really.
podcast with
Well,
Roberto.
it is.
You see that?
Not really.
Yes,
Not
I
far
did.
off.
Did you see that?
I did.
What's that?
Tukes did a podcast with Roberto, and he made a statement about RB versus 2J, and he said this. He didn't try to say that one's better than the other, like as an outright statement. He said that an RB will make more power when you do the exact same thing to each one. It's just that the 2J will hold it for longer, right? That's what he said. Is that true? Well, I'd love to see a 2J that's RB30, like, or still compared to an RB30, do the same mods to them. Usually the RB makes more power with the same turbo, same everything, right? It usually does. It's a more efficient engine. And exactly as he said, it just tends to not last as long. But we are slowly but surely fixing that last as long problem, right? That's where we're getting.
As a standard platform between the two heads, the head on the RB flows better.
That's really what matters,
that's a
right?
fact.
Like the bottom end all the bottom end has to do is hold together. The head does
Just
the
in
making
case
power.
you've missed it, 554, 263.
No doubt.
Until
No
then,
doubt.
a 2J is
No
king.
doubt.
But
no
you know
doubt.
what? You give.
No doubt.
I think you give it some time now, especially with PRP
Yes, in
and making
time.
all
But
these,
do you know-
these
do you
products
know-
for the RB.
do you
and
know
the
what
US start actually playing with them.
Oh, yeah.
well,
you're going to
the
see
US
it. You're
definitely
gonna,
will.
you're gonna see
Do
some
you know what's
fast
even
RBs.
more
After this, especially that comment, and I'm telling you because I've spoken to people overseas, it's definitely caused a stir. And now the RB is on the hit list. So all the 2J, the Puerto Ricans out there and everyone out there, I know you've all got the RB on the hit list.
I would not go. Do not travel.
No, we're all cool over there. These are all my people over there, man. They're all cool. So they're coming for the RB now. So that's good. It's put the RB on the map. It wasn't even a discussion. It wasn't even a conversation before this, and people didn't even know what an RB was over there. But now they've got it on a hit list. So it's put us in a mad position to even have that platform to even talk about being in the same realm as the 2J. 100%.
I feel like the RB will beat the 2Js.
It will beat the current 2J time.
100%
It will. Eventually, it will, yeah.
I reckon in the next 6 months.
Do you know, for me, it's
Possibly, yeah.
You're a
we
front-end bloke.
spoke
But
to
V8 twin turbo is king.
we spoke to the. You can't even compare it, mate. It's like fucking Wimbledon and tennis.
No, here we go.
But the fact that those guys from PMS, when they were here, were telling us about Lenati and how reliable it was in running those 550s.
Because he broke the world record racing, not trying to be a PB.
Yeah.
He's racing, bumping in, racing
But it
the
was
guy
doing
next
laps.
to him and doing laps. And
They were
like
doing laps.
But that's
554.
how it is over there. Over there, they don't really go out to really race the time board like we do. They go out there to race, heads up racing, and
good.
at the same time, if it breaks a record, that's what they're doing, unless they're testing.
They still
But
push every pass though. It's not like here where
100%. No.
I've noticed in Australia with drag racing that if someone wants to run rounds, they
Turn
won't
the car
always
down.
go 100%. But over there, they'll go rounds at
they're all in.
100%, and they're happy
All
to
in.
change. I'm not saying they do it, but what I'm saying is they're happy to change engines between rounds.
Yeah.
I've seen it. I've seen guys do that over there.
And
That's not a comment directed at anything specific or them. I'm just saying in general. I've seen their attitude when they're racing at World Cup, and that is
Shit happens.
100% every pass. And if it breaks, put a new engine in. But here we don't want to break an engine when
Because
going
We
rounds.
just want to get a record.
So we
what
always
people are
turn
gonna
it
say.
down. So we go for records in testing, and if we want to go rounds of racing at Jambo, it runs 70 pounds instead of 90, but at least it does rounds. That's the
100%,
attitude
man.
here versus there.
And you got to remember too, the 2J platform has been around for a very long time in the States, and
Correct.
a lot of people have been fucking with it.
Yeah.
Titan built
V8.
the 2J platform. How long? 15 years ago now, or longer. And that platform has been going hard for years and years and years, and they've tested it in multiple,
So if
different
you
kinds
had-
of
if
cars.
you had
From
a
street
V8,
cars to pro
Just
mods.
stop. If you had a V8, you could
Why?
fucking just do laps. and
2J
laps.
is king.
I will say this though, right? This is what a conversation that comes up is RB versus 2J. With the RB, it's the chassis, it's not just the engine, it's the chassis that made it, right? So it's the GTR.
Yeah.
The GTR chassis is king.
That's true.
But then people argue, what about at the track? But see, in America, those prepped tracks are so good that two-wheel drive versus four-wheel drive is irrelevant. I'll be honest. Like the tracks are so good in the US, right? So, but then I say, yeah, but I don't mean like that. Like, look what a Skyline GTR can do around a circuit. It's been used in drifting. It's been used in roll racing. It's such a versatile. Like, you put 1,000 horsepower into a 32 GTR, and as long as it can have stock suspension on drag rails, we'll still go on 8, right?
Yeah.
Find Supras that can do 8s that easy
there's
on a street surface. They
that
can't.
Between the two factory cars, the Supra and the GTR, there's no competition.
So it's the chassis that made
so
the RB.
So you're saying GTR's king, not
GTR is king,
GTR.
not RB, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. GTR's king.
Yeah,
Right.
in
my opinion,
in
yes.
comparison, you want to put a Supra against a VL. Like, that's got an RB in it.
Yeah.
It's not the same.
I still prefer a VL.
Two different engines.
I know, but
So would I.
Two
You're
very
right,
different engines.
And one's in the 80s.
They're not even the same engine. They're not even the same engine.
an RB's an RB, mate.
Okay.
GTR is king.
GTR
Well,
is king.
what do you mean it's not the same engine? You use the bottom end from the RB.
It's not
from
the same
VL.
engine. No, we don't. We use an even bigger bottom end. It's not the same.
GTR is king. GTR.
GTR or GTR?
D.
Yeah, GTR.
Can I ask you something?
Yeah.
Yep.
Is the RBX an RB?
Yes, it says RB.
That's a good question. That's a very good question. I like that one, Zayda.
Do I have to answer this?
Yeah.
One side of the argument will punch me in the face, the other side will agree with me. Some people, I've had one conversation which someone said, as long as it's an RB head, it's still an RB, right? Does the bottom
What
end,
about if it's a billet head?
well, that's the thing, is it? But it's, you know what some people argue when it comes to drag racing, and this is where you start getting into like the technicalities of racing. When you look at like pro lines and Hemis and all this sort of stuff, a lot of them aren't original Hemis, right?
No.
Is the bore spacing still the same? Is it so it makes it still a Hemi? Well, it's the same with an RB, right? Is the bore spacing the same? Does that make it still an RB if the head, as long as the bore spacing's right? So with an RBX, the bore spacing's the same. A factory head can go on it, but obviously it can't use like an off-the-shelf RB crank. So is it still an RB? Like that's the big question.
The only relevance is that keeps it relevant between RBX, between wide journal, between whatever you want to call it. The thing that's keeping them relevant and in the same category is that they're twin cam heads.
Yeah.
The rest on all of them are
once,
nowhere
yeah.
near anything close to the standard platform.
I don't agree.
Because
If
you
you-
could
if you-
run the Nitto, for example, compared
Yep.
to the RBX, but if you run aluminium rods, then what's the difference?
I
What's-
would prefer to say that to be an RB, you have to be able to put an RB crank in it.
Yeah, I agree.
Doesn't mean you use it. I'm never going to use a stock crank, but you should be able to, in theory, put a stock crank into the RB for it to be an RB. That's what I want to say personally. What do I want to say from a professional perspective? I don't really want to answer it, right? Like it's a tough one because I know why they did what they did to fix a shortcoming in the engine. But the whole point of an engine is it's
technically, if you're fixing a shortcoming in an engine, here you are comparing it to a 2J and saying, well, we're better than a 2J.
Do you,
Well,
do you,
Zeus-
do you run,
Zeus uses an
do
RB.
you run the standard Hemi crank in your engine?
It's not about that.
It is.
about the
It's
shape
the exact
of it.
same argument about what you're saying. Do you run the standard crank in the Hemi engine, in the Proline engine?
I don't, to be honest,
No,
I
no, no,
couldn't
no, no,
answer
no,
the
no,
question.
no, no, answer the question.
I don't know.
Yes, you do know.
You mean could you put a
Yes,
stock crank in
no,
it? is
you
what the-
can't.
You can't. That's right.
Exactly, and it's not the stock crank. And
Okay.
is it the stock heads?
Okay, I'm the first to put my hand up and say, no
Alright.
problem, it's not a Hemi. Call it what you want.
Alright.
It's a
I
mix.
want
the same
to
argument.
say that it needs to be able to take a stock crank and to be an RB. I want to personally kind of say that out of like pride of RB, I guess, and just I guess that personal opinion. But when you're talking about the development of the RB platform and racing, etc., I'm kind of in that middle ground where I go, I don't know, like I more would rather it be up to what the GTR community wants,
Man,
as
like
opposed to what I want.
If you want to talk about
It's development
if
at the
you
end
want
of
to
the
talk
day.
about a stock crank, these like they were 2.6 liters. We're at 3.4.
We're using RB30s anyway, right?
Yeah, I know,
So,
but we're at 3.4 now. Like
3.6.
3.2, 3.4, 3.6. It's
Yeah.
nowhere even near.
He's got an RBX in his car.
But
Not anymore, no.
The stroker kit is the stroke in the engine. It's not the actual crank itself, and the crank diameter is not bigger.
Now you're talking technical shit.
Well, Zeus still uses an off-the-shelf Nitto crank. So the quickest RB in the world is still could put a RB stock crank into it, or you can use Zeus's crank in your engine, my engine, etc. So if you want to go off that, I guess you can say that the world's quickest still uses that. So do you need to go to RBX? No, but I understand why it exists.
Well, it makes it stronger. Like I can see the reliability adds. Like the reality is, if you're going to have a thicker diameter crank, it's going to be a stronger.
I just don't get the whole standard torque from the get-go, like about all these things. Like
nothing's standard.
Nothing is standard.
Anyway.
The car is not standard anymore. There's nothing standard with it. It's not a twin turbo.
I genuinely
it's
see
a
it from
single
both
turbo.
sides.
Like, you know what I mean? I get it.
it.
You would like to say that you would use as much standard parts as you could.
It's not about standard parts. Yeah. It's not about the standard part that's the issue.
It's whether or not it still is that.
It's whether it's still that, exactly. Because the diameter of the cranks, regardless whether it's standard or billet crank, the diameter of the cranks is still the same. So in my opinion,
but
it's still an RB. Yeah, it's got something that's a better product to suit that application.
But then would the diameter of the crank making it more standard be the same as saying, well, they don't have the standard size cams in them?
Yeah, where do you draw the line? That's the point.
What's the difference? Why are you looking at the bottom of the engine? We're at the top of the engine. They don't have the standard size cams in them.
Yeah. You can't go any bigger than 90 mil bore, right? Or even 89.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it. RBX, RB3 to 2.8. It's still RB.
The head really is what's dictating the difference now, if you think about it. Because you could probably take the bottom end and put a 2J head on it or put an RB head on it, and it's going to work, right?
Yeah.
So the bottom end is the bottom end. It's the same across the board.
Yeah.
You could put a 2J head on an RBX bottom end probably and make that work.
I think from a category perspective, as long as it's still within the realm of the bore and stroke of what an RB could do, like so an RB30 you can go, some people say 90 mil bore, but a lot of people say 89 just so you can get a good enough fire ring thickness and everything in it. You're still capped with bore spacing on how big a bore you can go, right? So you're always going to be capped at capacity at basically dead on 3.6 unless your stroker crank's so big it goes outside the block, right? Like it's not going to happen. So if the RBX still falls within that capacity realm, it isn't kind of totally radically change, I guess, the stroke or bore in any way, then who cares, right?
Yeah, but it's adding strength to a part.
Correct.
That would probably not be, or it's probably a wink link in another.
That's all it is. It's like everything that they make aftermarket parts for or better
is to
parts for is to get rid of the weak part in it. And that's what, if you look at our engines on all platforms, whether from a V8 to an import, nearly everything has been changed on it to make it better.
RB30 billet block, even using a standard style crank, still changes the way the girdle and everything interacts, right? It's different anyway. So, you know what I mean? Like all they've done is really change the bit that separates.
Moral of the story, RB is RB. RBX isn't RB.
The moral of the story is that 2J is still running a factory crank in diameter, and the RB isn't. That's the moral of the story.
Oh, it depends which RB you're talking about.
That's true. RBX.
I've got people that reckon that our GTR records don't count because we use RB30 blocks. That for them, that's enough. They reckon.
Yeah, it's true. It's not.
I've had one guy
the 2J
say
is exactly the same as it comes out of the factory.
Yeah, but another guy even said to me, our GTR records don't count because we don't use the factory gearbox. And I'm like, what? They reckon R35 records count because we still use DCT. I'm like, yeah, bro, but the entire casing is billet. Every gear is changed. Everything's changed. The only difference with us is that factory casing, you can't really do anything in it. So you put a Turbo 400 there, but the transfer case is the same spot, right? Yeah. So it's still the same layout. You can't put a Turbo 400 inside a stock 5-speed casing.
Good argument, can go for days. It is what it is. I think build what you got, bring what you got. And
I got a better idea.
That's what I fucking said. GTR's
I got a better idea. Wait, Ryan, I got a better idea. How about I just write the fucking rules for GTR Festival and we go by them?
Yeah, well,
there you go, done.
Yeah.
Done. There you go.
You're gonna have to get.
Talk to you about these rules.
We need to have a chat after this.
You're gonna have to get the union called FSMU, whatever, to enforce it for you.
Do you know what I think you should do? Do you know what I think you should do? And speaking like honestly, I think you should have somebody employed who's impartial to go around and check the cars at your event.
Oh, shut up.
I have someone that does actually check them already.
What are you going to police?
What are you going to police?
You know
police
what?
The fuel that you use, police the size of
the
the
you can get away with the fuel like the way you did your
Zayda's starting to sound like a Karen, man.
On that note, I got to go.
Let's go around and police all the cars.
He's talking about fuel. He drove around on methanol, but anyone knowing fuck about how long.
Never.
Zayda.
I had fucking
ask you a question.
Pump fuel, E10.
2J or V10?
V10, bro. Fuck. Precision number one. Precision uno.
Look at the last cots. They come first, second. The first cots, they come first. What's going to happen tomorrow?
Bro, I don't want them to win again. They're fast. They're fucking.
I want actually embarrassing, man.
Yeah. But his head might just explode from that if he wins.
Do you know what? You were fast too the other night.
Yeah, we'll get in there. We'll dive
Just
in.
not as fast as Precision.
He was
I
up there. He was.
I beat
You
the
were.
winning car.
He was,
I got
bro.
a video.
You won.
He was
You
up
didn't
there.
win.
You were there?
You didn't win.
Were you there?
Who won?
Were you there?
You did not
Where was he?
win.
He was at a wedding.
Was
Right?
at a
I
wedding.
can't tell you. You weren't there.
Yeah.
You didn't win.
Look at the scoreboard. I'm fucking coming good.
You
How many cars do you have?
1.5.
Are you coming? Are you coming Friday?
Oh,
tomorrow?
don't even go down this road again.
No,
No, he's got
sorry,
a wedding.
don't
He's
even-
got a wedding.
Do you know what I've realised?
Ignore it. It's fine.
When you
You
talk
don't
about
have
it, things that happen.
You don't have to answer it.
We'll
It's
see.
all good.
I'm going.
Dog.
You're racing. You're racing the 35?
Yeah, I'm going to lose to nearly everything. Isn't that funny that I
Yeah,
can...
but you know what? It's all about fun.
Yeah, I'm just going to have fun.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
that's
going to
it.
take friends for a ride.
Because I ran a
Have fun.
12.5 second the other day there at your event.
I know
It
how
was
fun, but how fun was it?
It was fun just to go slow.
There you go.
Across the
Yeah.
finish line in third.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't need a fast car.
And not be worried about something going wrong.
Bro, it was the best. I could. Yep, go back around.
I actually want to take friends for rides in it and just
Yeah.
create some content with us, have some fun.
I reckon
That's pretty cool.
take Murad with you and teach him how to take off at 60
What
k's on
car?
green.
What car have you got?
I got my R35 back. So,
Romanos, keep an eye out, man,
Does
in
that
case this
work?
guy cheats
Have you-
again, right?
How fast is it? Have you raced
Mate.
it?
oh, I'd probably go 11.0, I reckon. It's
show
just
the
mid-bike and tune at the moment, so, yeah, nothing crazy. That's actually where they're the most fun because it's just, you know, you can just drive it around and
And
enjoy it as a
reliable.
street car.
When's the last time you've done roll racing?
He raced his
It's
fucking.
been a while,
Long
actually.
time.
Didn't
Hasn't
you
it?
race that Supra you had, the orange thing?
Oh, yeah, I raced the Supra there one time. I raced my 32 at roll racing a couple of times. But
Yeah.
everyone's kept saying, when are you going to bring your 32 to roll racing? And this is going to sound... You might get it because you've probably experienced it. There was this thing where it was like, if I bought my car there, it's like everyone wanted to beat you just so they could make their own YouTube video of beating you.
Yeah.
But here's the funny part. One guy did it, made it his cover photo that he beat my Supra, but my missus at the time was driving it and had never done it before. But he's just gone around telling everyone he beat us. And I'm like, it was my missus driving for the first time, bro. Like, who cares? Just, you know what I mean? It's
Proud
like-
moment.
So you get this target on your back, and then with
It's
my
like-
32, I know where I'm going to finish. I know who's going to beat me. And then it actually almost gets annoying that if you line up in 1150 horsepower GTR and you race on with 1600 horsepower and you get beaten, duh.
Yeah.
Of course you did. But then people get on like, oh, he smoked. No shit, mate. Like, it makes 600 horsepower. If it didn't win, there'd be something wrong. Like, everyone needs to calm down.
That's why
and just-
Romano shouldn't have put his dyno figures up because when he loses, it'll be like, we've been at 2,000 horsepower GTR.
All engagement's good engagement.
Yeah.
Don't care. Good or
right.
bad, send it.
Right.
So I started just getting to the point where all
Any
I took it,
publicity
so-
is good publicity.
That's
Yeah.
it, mate.
You're a fuckwit.
Yeah.
There you
But I'm
go.
keen to have fun now.
Yeah, that's it.
And you know what? Whoever wants to race me on tomorrow night and make
you
a
put- can you put
thumbnail that they beat me, go for it.
Can you
Like,
put money on
don't
it?
care. What are you driving?
I don't know yet.
Find something that runs 11.0, then we'll
Okay.
race it.
Done.
You're going to lie about it though. $100.
$1,000.
100.
1,000.
Oh, dude, I'm Australian and white, bro. I haven't got
500.
$1,000.
Murad was 500 last night on the Origin.
That was a bad move.
So don't worry, I won't jump. All right.
Yeah, unlike this idiot, yeah.
Yeah, no jumping. Come on, guys.
Well,
Fair
I am
racing.
going to play Van Halen jump in the car and jump around and
yeah.
crisscross jump while I'm driving.
Who the
But
fuck's Van Halen?
you don't know the song "Jump" by Van Halen.
No.
I'm
Andrew,
playing-
no, you
I
do.
do.
You
Tomorrow
do,
night we
you
play.
do.
He just got to Australia about 5 years ago.
Do you know who Van Halen
He
is?
hasn't even learned the national anthem yet.
He doesn't know who Van Halen is. Do you know who Van Halen is?
We all know the song.
We'll play the song.
We all
I
know
don't
the
know.
song.
Song's called
Thank you.
Jump. Right. It should be the theme song of roll racing
It
in
should.
Sydney.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or is it Jump or Be Jumped? Isn't that the Western Sydney?
No, that's just
And that will
Romanos.
change it. That will change it. We can never jump.
Not anymore.
That's just Romanos is saying jump or be jumped.
Never jump.
They need to jump.
Well,
It's
that's
actually
fair
roll
racing.
racing in the US is quite different, right? Very different to here. The biggest thing that they do there that we don't do here. So, for example, at TX2K, they have a set start speed and a zone, right? And the left lane dictates the speed, all the same as normal. But all of them use rolling anti-lag. So rather than trying to, what everyone I've noticed is doing here, because it's a byproduct of the short run-up, they can't, in their head, their brain won't let them hold a fixed speed. For some reason, it's impossible in Sydney to go, start at 60, I'm going to get to 60 and stay at 60. And I used to think it was just out of like, I didn't know if it was like they just couldn't work it out, but I think what it is they don't like the idea of not having their foot down building boost. Because if you just get to 60 and stay there, you have to back off the throttle. So now you haven't got any boost. So it is actually, he's good at it though. He knows how to ride the clutch and keep the speed, and he's actually got some skill with that.
Yeah, because he jumps.
But in America, it's rolling anti-lag or just rolling two-step, whatever you want to call it. They just literally get to 60, hold the cruise control button and keep their foot flat, and it just sits at 60 on two-step making boost, and they let go. Bam, gone. But
do
no one
realise
here's doing
We
that.
have an R32 and R34s. They don't have cruise control.
If you have drive-by-wire, you can make it do it.
I don't have it.
You can. Why not?
There actually isn't
Maybe
a lot of
10
people
years'
that
time.
are
It's
doing
not
that,
good
eh?
for the car.
But if you don't understand how much
we know
you
it's
would,
not
if
good
you, if you could get that working here in Sydney in a
know,
big
the Hurricanes
car,
have
you
it.
would never lose because it's instant, it's on boost, you can have full power almost instantly, and on the light goes green on a prep track, it's bam.
You
Go.
were,
the
you were talking
precision-
about this. The precision cars have that now.
Yeah, we set it up in the couple of the cars. It's
Yeah.
fucking sick, especially on the street.
It,
It's
honestly,
fucking mad.
yeah, it's wild.
That's
Okay.
pretty good.
It makes normal way of doing it, like you feel like you're retarded when you do it the other way. You kind of go, why would I waste my
But
time?
when you're in a car that wait, what the fuck you gonna do? Like an R32 does not have cruise control.
With drive-by-wire, you can do it.
No, I don't have that either.
Or put it in.
I did. It fell out.
Yeah, I think once we start seeing people really set that up properly, that's when you'll start going, these
So
cars are
I'm
hard to beat.
assuming Precision are going to win tomorrow night.
I don't know.
They are definitely the
Contenders.
well, they're not the
champs.
contenders, they're the champs.
They're
at
the
the moment.
champs, yeah.
Hey, how much do you pay if we win?
It depends who wins. You?
Precision.
Nothing. No, I think it's, the winner gets $1,000.
Yeah.
I'll up my game when you up the money.
I'll tell you what, next year GTR Festival, right, we like doing prize money based on spectator. How about we bring that over to roll racing? We'll bring a car from America, and if anyone can beat the American car that I bring, they get 10 grand prize money GTR Festival next year. How's that sound?
That's
Let me
pretty
know
good.
what
That's a
car
good
it is.
deal, eh?
Well, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
There you go.
Deal.
Next year's GTR Festival,
Are you
Cox
bringing
Roll
that
Racing,
black hoodie
$10,000 to the winner if they beat the American car.
Shit.
And
You have to beat
What's
the
the car?
American car
Do-
as well.
do we have an
if
idea
he
of what the
brings
car
the
is?
fastest car in
It's the
America,
fucking fastest roll race car in the world.
the
That's what
black
it's going
car or
to
the
be.
yellow Lambo?
No, it's either going to be Billy's R35 or Christine's R35 or something like that. It'll be a T1 R35.
I promise you, here in Sydney at Cots, we will beat them.
Shut up. Ash, I'd love
If
to.
you know me well, if you know me well, you know that car's not going to go. I want to win.
He's gonna give us the eye.
I'd love to agree with
you
you,
know what?
but I just don't know. if that's
I
gonna
love
happen.
your confidence.
They're not going to bring a car from there and here and win. It's not going to happen.
What did you see when
They did
no
it straight out,
prep when no
Lewis.
prep came?
They pumped us.
They mopped everyone in every state.
Yes, no prep's different. But it's a 10 grand bet. I'm fucking going.
He hasn't met T1 before. You know what the T stands for in T1? Stands for winning.
You didn't say I had to bring a straight car. His promo's going to be.
You should get one of them underground cars as well, man. They're pretty cool.
No, they won't travel.
No,
No. Plus, it's GTR Festival. Got to bring a GTR.
It's true.
true.
So does it have to be a straight car?
It's got to be whatever the rules are.
There is no rules.
That'd be like a pro street class. Bring whatever you got.
Yeah, okay.
Aside from borrowing your car.
Hey, man, T1 have got some fast cars, bro.
Yeah,
and the
definitely
roll
do.
racing stuff in the US is.
But they're good for half mile. They're not good for our short distance.
You'd be surprised. You'd be very surprised.
No, they'll be very surprised.
I saw it, Christine.
Well,
so at our event, we
see.
did proper quarter mile roll racing, same as here, but it TX2K, it's longer, so the numbers are higher because it's a longer track. But yeah, I saw what they ran in the quarter, and yeah, good luck. But you know what? You go
No,
for it,
we
man.
don't even run a quarter. We're under a quarter.
Trust me. They go all right. I like your confidence, and I'm happy to take the bet. Well, it's not even a bet. You get the money if you win.
Like, I'm not losing.
Hey, it's something to
You're
look
not
forward
losing
to.
anything.
Do you
Yeah.
pay 10 grand to us to the event if you don't win? Then is that
No, you're changing the topic now. You can't do this reverse Uno.
Let's
card
make it a
bet.
bet instead of prize money, right?
No, we shook hands already.
Mate, on that note, Andrew, congratulations. I think
Thanks,
it's
man.
been a successful few events.
Cheers.
And I hope that the success continues for you. I mean, from all of us here at That's Racing. And
Hopefully you join us at his events.
Yeah.
One day.
hopefully I don't have weddings on that time.
No more weddings, everyone, all right?
Yes, don't book weddings.
Don't book
for
weddings.
that time of the year. When is it?
It's May 20th. I think it's 23rd, 24th, or 22nd, 23rd, whatever that
I'm
weekend
putting it in my
is.
diary now.
Yeah, put
That
your
way,
diary
if
now.
I put it in
more
my diary
weddings.
now,
No
my
more
wife
weddings.
knows even if we got a wedding, I'll
And
in the
America,
diary before.
14th to 16th of November. And then New Zealand is the same weekend next year. And then America will be the same again. And then
You know what would have
August
been cool
15th,
if you
16th.
did the American one the same time that the rugby league was over in Vegas. That'd be cool.
But no one cares about the doggies playing in Vegas.
There are
Is that,
people- there
is
are
that,
people
is that
care.
really happening?
Have you not seen
happening.
the crowds that they're getting?
Yeah, it's big. I know.
60,000 people.
But
Come on,
you know
man,
what's
who
funny?
cares?
Speaking about
you
that,
mean
sorry.
who cares?
As if we're gonna go to America to watch footy.
Exactly.
Come on, man. Are you joking?
Hey,
Then why we watch it here?
hey, you know.
Let me go watch some good iron or
Hey,
something.
man, Zayda's
I go watch NFL.
No, no, no.
Hey,
Yeah,
I've got a mate.
I'll go to Jess.
I've got a
We gotta
mate.
get Zayda's testosterone checked, bro. That's what's going on.
Murad, I've got a mate who bought a 10 grand footy shoot.
Says Zayda.
I don't know who that is. buddies.
Zayda,
10
man.
grand footy shoe.
Yeah, he's going to a wedding. He's going to go.
Who did that?
Bro,
No,
this
no,
guy-
I've actually got to go. I've got to go.
Yeah, go get your footy boots. That you
We won't talk about you while you're gone at all. It won't happen.
Zayda.
See you, mate.
See you, mate.
See you, mate.
So, guys, just
Love it.
before Zayda leaves, he just bought a pair of football shoes for 10 grand.
No, he didn't.
Yeah, because
No,
Ashraf
he
was
didn't.
bidding for him.
No,
Bro,
did you?
he bid 10. I swear to God. He
No,
bid
he
10.
didn't.
And guess
Wow.
what? He got
One
one of the
shoe, bro.
shoes.
Ashraf bidded for him.
Don't ask, bro. Don't ask.
Stop. Tell us the story. We didn't hear this.
It's embarrassing, bro.
That's what I'm telling you what happened. His
Bro,
cousin-
10 grand.
Wait, hold on. It was only one shoe as well, not the both.
I'll tell you the story. Go, you can go. We don't need you.
I had to pay for it. Like, you know how much that hurt? Open the door, please. I've got to go to pay.
Oh, bro, sorry.
He was bidding. His cousin rings him. Is at an auction, and they're giving away some guy's football boot that he wore at a game.
Who's this guy?
I don't know, some Bulldogs player. What's his name?
Jacob Curran.
Jacob Pires.
Never heard of him.
Me neither. Anyway, the photo has 2 boots. And Zayda's like, oh, I want to bid. My wife likes him. He's a good player. My son loves him, blah, blah. So Zayda bidded $1,000. He got to 2 grand. He got to 3. And Zayda's like, bro, stop. Like, it's a fucking shoe. So then I'm G'ing him up. I go, go, go. His cousin on the phone doesn't know who's speaking. So he's bidded to like 7 grand, was it? 7 grand, then someone outbid Zayda to 8. So I grabbed the phone, I go 10 now.
My cousin didn't know he was talking. All this thing happening in the background. And
So we're 10 grand, he goes, congratulations, Andrew. That night, he sends me a photo, he goes, to make it even worse, he goes, they only gave me 1 shoe.
Oh, bro. Oh, yeah, that's gold.
Well done, Zayda.
Congrats, man.
Like, what's that joke you can use? Hey, mate, you find a shoe? Did you lose a shoe? He goes, no, mate, I found one. So,
So that 10 grand I win, well, I'll contribute to Zayda's shoe.
Oh, shit.
All right, guys, thank
I'm
you.
not bidding on anything ever when you're around.
No,
ever.
100%. I was just thinking the
Yeah,
same
stay
thing.
away from that.
Nah.
Yeah, but I help win.
No,
I
shut
put
up. You
happiness
helped
on
me
his
lose
children.
last night. I'm not even going to go there. Don't even
I
start.
didn't help you lose. Queensland
I'm
was
not
trying to win
letting
the
you
origin.
need me to write any rules for events either. Nothing.
But everything around me wins the way I want it to win.
Yeah, because it suits you.
And it happens. Last night, I wanted Queensland to win, so Murad loses. And exactly what happened.
It did.
Upset a lot of other people though, man.
But I was happy, and he was not.
See, I'm getting the point of what matters here.
See? That's what
So,
I
yeah.
mean.
But at least he comes to GTR Festival. I'll give him that.
He does.
true.
And he did support it with culture. I'll give him that too.
So
He
we
did
always
well.
support.
Yeah, yeah.
Because
He
we
does.
win.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, they did a good job. It was a lot of fun actually. Especially when you were racing the Lambo and the Ferrari against each other.
That was
12
sick.
second warriors.
No, he went 13.
Oh, yeah, okay. You went 12.
Don't you dare put him in the 12 second. Sorry, Faf.
How funny is it that one of the favourite races of the whole weekend is like 12 and 13 second cars?
As long as you know.
I ran 11.5 in a GTR with low mounts. That was fun.
That's
Enjoyed that.
Quick.
I had no turbos. I went 12.
Shit. All right, well,
Good
on
night,
that
guys.
note,
Cots tomorrow
good
night.
night.
See ya,
Hawker.
Cots.
See ya,
See ya.
Cots.
See you tomorrow.
See ya.